So, welcome on YouTube. This is Star Traders Frontiers. It's a RPG space game about trading. I've been playing for about 3 or 4 hours. So I just want to run you through what I've noticed, gameplay and everything else. Right from the beginning, the graphics look rather simple. However, the RPG element and the gameplay and the mechanics behind the graphics are actually really good. So I want to run you through everything that I have noticed and seen so you get a good idea of what the game is about, how to play the game, and things to look out for so you're success. So I've played the game for, as I said, for about 3 hours. And the things that I've noticed is that it forces you right at the beginning to pick one side or the other in what you want to do. You can obviously reject playing story mode right at the beginning, but it really does emphasize that it wants you to do story mode. So the story mode is all about Callaghan Fane or Fen, where you can see him here. I currently have 104 personal rep, 36 candid rep, and so my effective rep, which seems a bit weird because if you add those numbers up, it doesn't add to 122, it's 122. What that means is, what that story mode is that he is embroiled in something, and I'm not going to give it away because obviously you want to play, and you get the opportunity to choose whether you help him or not. If you help him, then he is against another kind of faction, and so in helping him, you are then hated by another faction. So one faction really likes you, one faction really hates you, but there's about 10 factions, all of which have, as the game goes on, complex relationships between themselves. So one minute you're really happy with them and they're willing to trade with you, and then something happens that is you're involved with, and they won't trade with you. So therefore, it causes you to have to think about how you buy and sell things. So when I first looked at this game, as I said, it's the graphics when you first start off with look rather simple, but then when you go into it, it actually looks really daunting and complex. The first screen you get to is where you create your hero. You get to choose attributes, what their skills are, what they're going to do. So if I look at my crew, so this is the crew screen. This is where you get to look at your crew person. You get to go through them, each of your people. You get to rename them, and as they level up and as they get skills, you again get to apply those skills, see how they adapt to them as well, everything else. So with me, I've gone for Explorer, Commander, and Scout. So if you then look at the Explorer, Commander, and Scout talents, you can see next to the talents that each talent you gain in your character gives you certain benefits out in the real world. So it may mean that your hyper warps use less fuel. It may be that you have more success rates when talking to people to gain reputation, and so on and so forth. Each person can do officer within your area. Each officer can have up to 3 jobs. Engineer. I've done engineer and mechanic. If you look at the jobs, as you can see with my engineer and mechanic, there are certain crossovers between jobs. So there's some jobs that complement other jobs. So if you look at the engineer gives repair and electronics, and the mechanic gives repair and electronics as well. So having an engineer and mechanic really helps, because anything that requires a electronic skill, they've basically got double buffed because they've got the 2 jobs. So it really makes the success work. As the game plays, it's effectively a dice rolling game. So the more dice you have with your repair and your electronics and everything else, the better you are to beat the world. So when you're traveling around, you'll see in the bottom right hand corner things scrolling, where as you're traveling through space, it rolls the dice to see whether you're going to get hit by scouts, you're going to hit a meteor storm, your navigation's bad, your pilot is bad, and all of those negative things could cost you more fuel. This game reminds me very much like FTL, which is Faster Than Light, where that was a game where you started at one end of the map and you had to work your way all the way to the other end of the map. And it's a toss-up between how much fuel do you buy, how much reserves you do, where do you fight and where do you go, and what you're looking for. This game is a little bit simple like that, but as you're doing missions and as you're trying to gear up your people and skill up your people, it uses fuel. And fuel doesn't run out in a sense, which I will talk about in a second, but what does run out is your money. So everything you do costs you money. Depending on your reputation when you go to starports, depends on whether the fuel is going to cost you a lot or a little, or more importantly, whether they will give you fuel or not give you fuel. So it's really important that when you do stuff within the game, that you look at whether you're going to gain reputation or lose reputation, because that could affect your fuel. So if you go back to your crew again, this is your pilot and your navigator are the two people that will help save you fuel. So it's really important that when you job up, or if I click on my person and show their talents, there are certain things that you can do which will help you not lose fuel, so therefore you're more economic in using. And then there are jobs that will help you not use fuel as well. So the most important thing to begin with is sort out to make sure that you're being as economic as you can on your fuel. So the map is really interesting. So when you look at a city, you can hover over it and it will bring up the name of the city and it'll tell you what it is. So it may be a trade post, it may be a refinery, it may be a farm, it may be an orbital station. But some planets will have two factions on that one planet. So those two factions may hate each other, but you may be friends with one of them. So you need to make sure that when you're going to that planet and you're wanting to trade or buy fuel, that you go to the right one. You go to the wrong one and they may not serve you. You'll have to take off and land again, which will cost you fuel, and then you then can buy more fuel. So you need to make sure you're looking at your factions. Each planet that you go to will tell you how far away it is from you, so it shows you how much fuel you're going to use. So on the top right it will say like 13 AU, 5 AU, 9 AU, which shows you that that's how much fuel you're going to use to get to that particular place when you land on it and when you go to the exchange. So when you go to the exchange, you'll have a sell cargo, buy cargo, and if you hover or click the actual trade item, it will tell you where the demand is. This is a general demand of every zone or every type of planet that will want that item. It then says in the global trade what is the maximum and what is the average price for that item. So obviously every time you want to try and hit maximum, and you also want to try and hit the average global. Now to make things a little bit easier in the exchange window, it tells you a price per unit and it tells you whether it's an A, B, C. So what it means is how much of a margin are you going to make on that item. Now that margin is really dependent on whether you get the average price or the maximum price. So as you get more skilled at trading, you'll notice where you go, you can try and get the maximum every time. Once you have bought your items, if you go to the status of your ship and go to cargo, in the cargo screen, it will tell you where at that particular time, where the highest demand for that item is. So as an example here, I've got carbonite crystals. I'm running some videos in the background, so it will show you as well. So the average, what average price you'll get for this is if I go to an industrial zone, I'll get the average price for it. If I go to a high-tech industrial, I'll get the maximum price for it. So therefore, I increase my margin. Now you may ask, how do I know where those places are? So if we go back to the star map, around each planet, it will have an O or a T or an R or an I or an F or an I. So what that means is R means it's a refinery planet, I means it's industrial, F means it's farming, O means it's orbital, T means it's tech, P means it's population, and then L means it's a luxury population. So those are the quick views when you're on the star map. But then when you hover over it, it will then, if there's two factions there, it will then bring them up, and it may find that on one planet you have an industrial and a mining. And so therefore, if you're looking for your best, you want to, if you're looking for mining, the planet may show it this is industrial because that's the dominant. But then you may find that there may be a mining one there as well. It may be within a faction that you're friendly with, so therefore you can travel to that planet and then get your maximum that you can there. As you travel, you get an option to whether you fight, retreat, bribe, or surrender. And depending on if you're friendly with a faction, you may get an option to fight or collaborate, which means you get to share information or you can surrender. I noticed that if you are friendly with them, and you obviously you don't want to fight them because you'll lose faction points if you fight them. If you just do collaborate, then you don't gain faction, you don't lose faction. Everyone just seems to be very happy. If you retreat, depending on how much they don't like you, depends on whether you actually lose faction points for that people who are currently on your sensor contact. So there are skills with your pilot and your navigator who can reduce your loss if you decide to retreat. And once they get to a certain skill level, then you'll lose nothing. So therefore, that's really good. Sometimes you're given the option to only fight. I find early on in the game that if you fight and then just retreat immediately, it saves you a lot of money because repairing stuff is actually quite expensive. When you're in a fight and you get hit, not only does it damage your ship, it damages your people and it damages your items. So therefore you need to repair all three of those things. Again, it costs you money, so therefore money is really, really important in the game. Even if you retreat, your crew still gains experience, but they lose morale through the retreating. So when you go to planets, you'll have spice halls who can get your morale up. If someone's morale goes too low, then they abandon ship. So when you get to the next spaceport, they'll all go, "Oh, see you later, I'm going off for a drink," and they never come back. So depending on the person, depends on how low the morale's got to go before they leave you. So again, it's really important to look at that. But also, again, with your commander and your officers, there are skills that they can gain, which will again negate morale, which means that it can lower morale, so therefore people are less likely to leave you. So as you go on in the game, you get better morale and stuff like that. So it's again, it starts off, it looks in graphics quite simple, but as you go through, it gets more and more complex if you want to get better at the game and further through the game. So what I'll do is I'll talk quickly about the Spice Hall now. So the Spice Hall is where you pay your people. If you don't pay your people, they'll lose morale. Eventually they'll lose you. They lose morale very quickly. But also, if you have people who are skilled up or ranking up, you can't rank them up until you've paid them. So if you pay them, they then rank up, and then you can give them skills. You can also recruit at the spice halls. You can also increase morale at the spice halls. So you pay people, you can recruit people, and you can make people happy in the spice halls. So if you've been through a heavy battle, you can also heal people there with your doctor, assuming you have a doctor. If you don't have a doctor, you need to get a doctor. You need to train them up. The more you train them up, the more they can heal, the less cost and everything else. So again, you can see how the money dynamic is getting into this. But it's really good if you've had a long journey, you pay people, you don't need to recruit because their morale should be high. You go to the spice hall, bring up the morale of the people who lost morale being in space, and then you go to your doctor. Starport, so if you go to the starport, that's where you can repair your ship, costing you money. You buy fuel, costing you money. It will tell you there what rate exchange rate you're getting. So I've got getting a B- in the example I'm seeing here, so that's really good. So I buy more fuel, I can repair my ship, so repair a ship costs you money. You can upgrade sections of the ship. Now upgrading, again, looks really daunting, and it recommends that unless your ship has more than 200% capability within a certain section, then there's no point upgrading. But once you upgrade, it makes your ship more economic, it makes it faster, more powerful, and everything else. But you can buy new ships. When you buy a new ship, you have to rebuy everything again. which is really problematic because things are very, very expensive. Just a bare bones ship, a really good one, is probably 300,000 credits. But if you just want to buy, let's have a quick look. For example, buy a bridge that costs you 16,000 credits. If you want a void engine, which just causes you to just move, that's 67,000 credits. So just being able to get the first two things on the list without having a warp engine or cargo or barracks or luxury suites or weapon lockers or officer cabins or torpedoes or anything like that, you've already spent nearly 100,000 credits, and I don't even have 100,000 credits. So it shows you how quickly you can spend money if you don't know how to make money very well. If you look at the status of the ship, you can see that my ship ops is at 240%. I need to upgrade my ship ops. It costs a lot of money to upgrade the ship ops, and that's why I haven't done it so far. My gunnery and electronics is 140, 157. My pilots is 153. Those are things that I've recently upgraded, so they've all dropped down. Navigation, I do need to increase my navigation. If I do that, then things will cost me less to travel. That's what I want to do. We'll go on from there, and it shows you the the costs and stuff. A lot of this is very technical, but basically all you need to worry about is in your individual factions, you've got to be 100%. If you're below 100%, then it will cost you more to do an action. If you're above 200%, then you need to upgrade it because your capability is beyond your ship. So that's the bare bones of it. Max officers 5. This is all just stats of this particular ship. Get bigger ships, you can have more officers. More officers mean more jobs. More jobs mean more skills. So therefore, you have a better ship. Again, your repair tactics, command, negotiate. All of those are the accumulation of the skills of your people on your ship. So therefore, the higher these are, the better you'll be. Stealth, I've got stealth is my +3 and it's 0 naturally. So when I'm going through an area, I'm not very stealthy at all, and I get attacked all the time by pirates and everything else. It's good that ISSA, I can flee, but if I had good stealth, then I would, breeze through, trade in and all stuff like that. So maybe I need to get one of my officers to get stealth up, but we'll go from there. And again, you've just got your engines of the second one. Again, it shows you how fast you do things, how quickly you can maneuver around things. At the top of it, it shows you the sector you're in and what reputation you have with those people. So I'm at +36 in the sector I'm in. So they love me here. I've got a trading permit, so it's absolutely brilliant. If you go into the people screen, you'll see that you can buy trading permits, and I'll show you quickly in the video how to go through trading permits. It lets you to be able to skill up on your rank as a commander, captain, lieutenant within their army. So what does that both do? So the first thing is if you upgrade your trading permits, there are items to buy and trade which will be restricted by the level you are. The higher level, the more rare the things you can do. The more rare things are, the more expensive they are, and the more money you make. But again, that's only traded within your same faction. You need different trading permits for different factions. They're all pretty standard. So trading 1 permit for the Prince, Kadar Prince, will be the same as the Indie trading permit 1. So you need to make sure that you go to the correct trade, get the correct trading permits. There's no point buying a whole cargo worth of trading level 7 Kadar. Go to the Indie section, you've got a trading permit level 2 because they won't let you trade those items, and then you're done. When you look at the planet, it will show you in the dynamics how big the trade section is. So if it's got a really good trade in, the bar will be all the way up to the top. If it's about halfway, it's like level 5. I think level 10 is the top, 5 is the middle, and if it's quite low to the bottom, it's trading 1 or 2. So what that means is that the items that you can buy at that exchange are going to be a lot less than one that's level 10. So a level 10 means there can be lots of luxuries, but restricted permit wise. A level 1 will be lots of really base stuff you can't make much money on, but you'll still sell. I don't think, and I haven't noticed, that there is anything on selling to them. So you can go to a level 1 with a level 7 permit and sell level 7 items to them. With the military, again, military, the bigger the military you have, the better ship rewards you can get, and the better and greater the presence you have within the military faction of that faction means that the items to upgrade your ship will cost less. So a torpedo, when you're not friendly with them and have no command with them, may cost you 1,000 credits. But if you are friendly with them and you're like a captain, it may cost you 800 credits. A lieutenant, it may cost you 500. If you get to a certain level, there may be some things that they give to you for free to upgrade your ship. So it's really important that you balance your trade permits and your command rank with them. So therefore, when you do get lots and lots of money, you can buy stuff quite cheaply. But all of that does is that costs you rep. So when you go through the screens, it will show you how much rep it will cost you. It will cost you money and reputation. So you just need to be careful. You balance growing your reputation with individuals within factions. So when you grow that, you grow your permits in your industrial. So at the moment with the Kadar, they're my biggest rep I have with them, 36 plus 36. I think I'm a lieutenant with them, and I've got a trading permit level 2. So what that means is that I can get access to medium-sized luxuries. I've kitted out my ship, level 5 torpedoes. They only cost me like 10 grand each, which was really good. I think before they were like 25, so basically half the price by being a lieutenant. I think I've got another 3 or 4 or 5 levels to go, so I think there may be some when I get higher up that they'll give me to free. The other thing to discuss is that once you get command within a faction, they'll let you have a dry dock, and they'll let you have access to different ship designs and ships you can buy off them. So as I say, the ship can cost about 300k, but some factions don't have access to those ship designs. So again, you need to, when you befriend people and you get up in their command structure, you want to have a look at the ships that they offer, because there are some massive, massive ships that have humongous cargo holds, or depending on what ship you buy, it's a massive, massive ship and it just has lots of weapons. So depending on what you choose, whether you want to be an explorer, a pirate, a trader, a mix of everything, you get to design your ship the way you want it. But again, it will cost you money, which will cost you trade permits, which will cost you reputation, which will cost you money, and all of those embroiled together. There is an option as you scroll through where you can go speak to people to get bounty permits. So you can go and kill people, which is really good. You get to hunt them down. You can be a bounty hunter in this game, which means that you have to go to the spice halls, listen to where people are, track people, and then hunt them down. But you can also go and speak to factions to go and apologize, which means that you can raise your level with them. And therefore, when you are like a -6 or something like that, and they're not trading with you, not letting you buy fuel, you go apologize, your rep goes up, you do a couple of missions for them, the rep goes up again, and then you can buy fuel. So money, money, money is very important, but also making sure that you can continue to fly is really important as well. So don't go all out spending loads and loads of money, because that's just not going to help you so much. Battles are really important. So as I said, you can choose to retreat, but what you can do is you can choose to engage and get closer. You start off with long range weapons where you fire from a long distance. So long distance is classed as 5. But you can, with pilot skill, again, it's roll of the dice, you can choose to try and close that gap. But again, with your pilot, navigator, and your crew, you can gain bonuses to those rolls and make things more likely to happen. So your gunners, if you've got some really good gunners, the missiles will never miss because they roll, and they roll high, and the opposition will roll, they'll roll low, so therefore you beat them, so therefore you do it. So it's all about a rolling of a virtual dice. Again, you skill them up, and the higher, the more dice they'll roll, and so therefore the more chance of doing it. So what you really want to do early on in the game, I found, is that I actually retreated from most battles because my crew were not very high level. So as I was flying, you could see my pilot, navigator, and commander were failing lots of things. Now, when I fly and you look at the right hand side when it's scrolling, I'm getting a lot of successes. So it means that in battle now, once I upgrade my ship a little bit more, I don't have great, everything's level 1 bar torpedoes. It's just torpedoes keep everyone at bay. So once I level up my weapons, I could probably engage because my pilots are quite good now. My gunners are pretty good. My boarding party is terrible. You can just close range and just board. Again, most important thing is you get skills to make that more possible to happen. Board, you can board almost instantly. You can increase your boarding range. You're at the beginning, you can only board if you're within one space of them. But I think now with my pilot and my commander, I can board them at 3 spaces away. So I just need to get within 3 spaces and I can board them. But I don't have a good boarding party, so there's no point doing that. But if you're a pirate, you may really build up your boarding parties, because if you board a ship, cargo as well, and so therefore it really helps you if you're can board almost instantly when fighting. But that is it though. So that's past UK gaming review of Star Traders Frontiers. Please subscribe because I want to do some more of these reviews. Please like the video, and if you want me to do a quick run through or the first demo of how to play the game or do the first story, then please tell me. If you want me to not do the game or show you something else within the game, actually do a bit of a playthrough, again, ask me. This is past UK Gaming out.